The Playground by J.W. Robertson. Copyright 2025. All rights reserved. Robbie tries to ignore the insistent banging on the front door. He mumbles into his computer microphone. "Sorry guys, I've got to get the door." "Oh, come on man, we're in the middle of a match," moans a voice on his headset. "Get over it," replies Robbie. He takes his computer headphones off and he stands up with a sigh. He thinks, "Dang Carol, why can't she knock like a normal person?" "I'm coming!" he screams out, and the knocking stops. As he's about to open the door, the knocking starts up again. He flings the door open, and the little girl knocking almost falls into him. "Are you crazy? Why are you knocking so loud? Do you want my parents to kill you?" says Robbie. He looks at his 10-year-old next-door neighbor. She's dressed as usual. She's in her stained and torn, oversized pink hooded sweater, and the patches on her knees of her blue jeans are covered in dirt. "Get your bike! We have stuff to do, and I need your help." "Can't we stay inside this weekend? I have some two-player games we can play." "No! Let's go! I'll give you 5 minutes." Carol turns around and walks to her bike, laying in the nearby grass. She plops down, and she starts looking for insects. Robbie closes the door, and he runs to his kitchen. He quickly writes a message for his sleeping parents on the refrigerator notepad, used for family notes. "Out with Carol. Wish me luck." He runs to his bedroom, and he puts on an old set of jeans and a well-worn sweater. He grabs his favorite baseball hat, and he stuffs a handful of jelly bears into his pocket. He's learned to be prepared for anything of Carol. That little girl can move mountains with her personality, but she sometimes forgets other people need to eat. He runs out the back door and inspects his bike. Tires inflated? Check. Chain greased? Check. Brakes functional? "Hurry up!" yells Carol. "Neep!" blurts out Robbie. He sees Carol at the side gate. "We don't have all day." "Are you serious? It's like 8 in the morning, Robbie yells back. However, Carol is already running to her bike on the street. Robbie pushes his bike after this force of nature. He mumbles, "Why do I let her push me around? I'm 3 months older." When Robbie arrives at the street, Carol points at a backpack in the grass. "Carry that!" She hops on her bike and speeds off. "Wait, what?" He grabs the backpack and he almost falls over. "It's so heavy," he mumbles. Carol stops and turns around on her bike. "Let's go!" Robbie struggles to put on the backpack, and he hears loud clanking and banging from the bag. He struggles onto his bike, and he pedals after Carol. After a block of hard pedaling, he catches up to her. "Slow down, this is heavy," breathes Robbie. "Fine," she grumbles as she reluctantly slows down. They hear a small voice and the sound of a 2-wheeled scooter. "Hey guys, can I come?" Robbie looks over, and he sees Timmy, a small boy about Carol's size, wheeling towards them. "Sure," says Robbie. "Buzz off, scooter boy," replies Carol. Timmy's face falls. "She's just kidding," says Robbie. He whispers at Carol, "Be nice, or I'm going home." Carol pauses a moment before she beams a fake smile at Timmy. "Yeah, sure, but you have to do what we say." Timmy's face brightens. "Where are we going?" he asks. "There's a field near a construction site, and I was able to get some supplies out of their trash. We're going to build a secret base." "Awesome," replies Timmy. "And don't tell anybody about our base," she yells. The trio travel another block before Carol stops suddenly. "Look at that!" She points down a side street that they've all passed many times before on their way to their bus stop. They see a new playground set in the middle of the street. It's placed in the middle of an island of clover. Robbie looks at the playground. "Has that always been there?" "That's new," replies Timmy. "My aunt lives on that street. I've never seen that before." "Well, let's go break it in," says Carol. She turns onto the side street and she pedals to the small raised island. She hops off her bike, and she lays her bike in the clover. Robbie follows closely behind, and he struggles over the curb. Carol yells back at Robbie. "Don't leave that bag there. It has my dad's tools. He'll kill me if I lose them." "Fine," says Robbie as he walks towards the playground. He sees a vibrantly colored array of ladders, steps, poles, bridges, and tunnels. A large giant spiral slide dominates the playground. The greens, reds, yellows, and blues shine brightly in the morning sun. A couple of rope swings sway in the slight breeze. Robbie walks to one of the swing seats, and he sits down. Time for a break, he thinks. He pops a gummy bear into his mouth, and a moment later he spits out a piece of pocket lid. He hears giggling, and Carol swings quickly past him on the swing. Soon she's high above his head. He looks for Timmy, and he sees him standing in the street. "Hey, what's wrong?" Timmy shakes his head. "This doesn't make sense." He looks at the large playground island. "This is so big, and this street was never this wide." He points at a house. "My aunt lives there, and I remember her complaining about the neighbors across the street. They are always too loud, but now the house is way over there." He points at another house, and he sees a family of 4 hopping into a minivan. "What are you talking about? Come on, says Carol. She hops off the swing and flies through the air. She lands on her feet in the clover. Then she rolls and stands up. Fresh green stains from the clover appear on her arms and shoulders. She runs to a nearby set of stairs, and she runs up onto a red bridge. I claim this is Carol's kingdom, she yells. Then she laughs. Let's go, squires. Timmy looks up at Carol. I can be your squire? Sure, she replies. Wow, Squire Timmy. Timmy drops the scooter and he runs to the stairs. The scooter falls halfway into the street and halfway into the clover. Robbie makes a small jump off his swing seat and he approaches the steps. He stops and he looks at the playground set. Previously, the colors were bright and almost glowing. Now the colors are muted and faded. Hey, what's going on? He looks back at the street and it looks foggy and distant. Timmy slows and stops. He rubs his eyes and he takes another look at the playground set. Gross! Yells Carol. She holds up her hand and a sticky substance connects from her hand to the bridge railing. She tries to move off the bridge and she finds her feet are stuck. Guys, something's wrong, she yells. Timmy points behind Robbie and he turns and runs to the steps. Robbie looks behind himself and he sees little gray creatures approaching. They look like little bipedal pigs and they're carrying little gray clubs. Ah! Yells Robbie. He runs after Timmy. He hears a squeaking sound behind himself and he experiences a jolt of pure terror. He hops up the steps towards Carol and the bridge. He sees Timmy yanking on Carol's legs and she's slowly getting unstuck. As he watches Timmy, he feels something hit his backpack. He spins around and he sees one of the little piggy creatures right next to him. It's swinging its arm back for another blow with its little club. No! Yells Robbie. He kicks out and the little creature tumbles down the steps and into one of its brethren. They both squeak as they fall off the playground. Two other creatures appear and they crawl up the steps. Robbie looks left and right and he sees a dozen more creatures coming out of the clover. Robbie, this way! Yells Carol. Robbie turns and he runs after his friends. They are running towards the tall slide. As he runs over the bridge, he sees a host of piggies swarming on the ground. What do we do? Asks Timmy. He looks down the slide and he sees the creatures waiting at the bottom. We have nowhere to go. Robbie starts kicking piggies off the nearby ladder. One creature runs across the bridge and trips Timmy. Help! Robbie feels a tugging on his back. Oh no, he thinks. Stop moving, yells Carol. Oh, says Robbie. He stops struggling and Carol unzips Robbie's backpack. A variety of tools fall on the ground. Carol grabs a large wrench and she hits the piggy hitting Timmy. As the wrench hits the creature, a glaring light appears, and the creature disappears. Timmy sits up with tears in his eyes. What's happening? He asks. Carol hands Timmy the wrench. Squire, Timmy, get to work! Timmy eyes the wrench, and he smiles. He grabs it and hops up. Robbie grabs a hammer, and as the creature rushes him, he swings. The creature glows as it's hit, and it disappears. Good job, Robbie! Keep it up! We need to fight back to our bikes, yells Carol. She grabs a bunch of screwdrivers. Robbie strikes a few more creatures, and they flash away. Carol runs and jumps down the slide. Follow me! As Carol hits the ground, she's surrounded by flashes as she strikes out in all directions. Timmy hops after Carol, and Robbie quickly follows. As the trio start to fight back, the pig-like creatures fall back as well. After several more of their kind disappear in a flash, they run back into the clover and disappear. The children look around, and they see a hazy fog surrounding the playground. However, they see bright sunlight at one of the corners of the playground. They see Timmy's scooter partially in the clover and partially in the street. That way, squires! Yells Carol. This is not funny! Yells Robbie. They run to the street and collapse in the bright sunlight. After a moment, they hear honking. They look up, and they see a minivan in the middle of the street. The driver's door opens, and a man gets out. You kids shouldn't be playing in the street, he says. And why are there tools everywhere? Carol looks around, and she sees her dad's tools splayed out in the street. The playground is gone. Help me out, guys, says Carol. The two boys look around stunned, and they help Carol pick up the tools. When they're done collecting everything, the van drives past. I'm going home, says Robbie. Yeah, let's do that, replies Carol. The three battered children slowly walk home. After a few minutes, Timmy asks, What happened? Carol quickly replies, I think it was an elf trap. What? They didn't look like friggin' elves, says Robbie. Makes sense, says Timmy. Elves are allergic to metal. Carol looks up and down the street. Then she looks at Robbie. So, do you have any 3-player games?